this country has got a lot of really, really, really dumb motherfuckers. Like, just being honest with you, this country, when it comes to Republicans, voters, especially the voters, the politicians are just lying to them. Like, the politicians are actors playing a character on television. Like, it's like, can you separate the art from the artist? Like, oh, your favorite actor said something problematic. Does that make the movie that he plays in bad? So Republican politicians, they're all actors. They're just playing parts on television. But Republican voters are the real dumbass motherfuckers. They are the dumbest motherfuckers in the history of planet Earth. Right? I need you to understand, like, if you were to look at the entire, uncompressed timeline of human civilization, Republicans would be number one dumbest motherfuckers on planet Earth. Now, again, I don't want to absolve Republican politicians of their sins, because Republican politicians are quite ridiculous, especially judges. Judges are politicians, by the way. We need to start calling judges politicians. I don't know why that's controversial. Some people get uppity when you call judges politicians. They are politicians. That's just okay. But anyway, so Republican voters are so fucking stupid and now they've managed to take over the Republican Party. So now the Republican Party, it used to be made up of actors. The party of Ronald Reagan, they were all actors. They were just playing parts on television, right? But now the Republican Party is starting to get infected, right? It's starting to get infected by the stupid motherfuckers that put them there. So this is an example of that. And Republicans, again, they're dumb. They are dumb fuck motherfuckers. Okay? But anyway, I got a story here. This is from Wonkette.com. Barnes & Noble is selling books to children, and these Virginia Republicans will not stand for it. This story is insane. This story is insane. We have Elon Musk, right, going out there saying, I'm going to vote for Republicans because they're the party of free speech. And Democrats are so hateful and divisive and censorious. They think Democrats, Elon Musk is parroting this to mainstream culture, that Democrats are censorious, woke mobs of hate. And that Republicans are the party of free speech. Who came up with this, by the way? Like this meme that has parasitically consumed all discourse in this country, where if you ever meet someone and they think Republicans are the party of free speech, you need to back away and go like this, right? Like Jesus Christ, right? But this story is insane, and this is not I want to be very clear. This is not proposed legislation here. This is actually insane. Tim Anderson, an attorney and state delegate in Virginia, and his client, Tommy Altman, made a frightening discovery. There are entire stores dedicated almost solely to books, and that are willing to give these books to your children for a price. Probably around $17.99. There are even things called libraries that will lend them books for free in hopes of getting them hooked on reading and also sin. I love the creative writing from Robin Panaccia here. Creative writing, I like it. I'm in. Outraged. The men took their case to the Virginia Beach Circuit Court, where a judge agreed with them that books are bad and not meant for children, and declared two of them, Genderqueer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe, and A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, to be, quote, obscene for unrestricted viewing for minors, which means they can now be restricted. It seems they are largely upset about genderqueer because they're afraid it's going to turn their children genderqueer, or perhaps just turn them into people who are not raging assholes about other people existing. And that a court of mist and fury was kind of just thrown in there for plausible deniability reasons, because if they're upset about a heterosexual sex scene in a fantasy book, that means they're not bigots for going after genderqueer. The two men are also seeking a restraining order on one such store, known as Barnes & Noble, in hopes of barring it from selling these two books to people under the age of 17. Though they have warned parents in a Facebook post that there are dozens of these books out there and that they should probably be very concerned about all of them. I am pleased to announce a major legal victory. Today, the Virginia Beach Circuit Court has found probable cause that the books Genderqueer and Account of Mist and Fury are obscene to unrestricted viewing by minors. My client, Tommy Altman, has now directed my office to seek a restraining order against Barnes & Noble and Virginia Beach schools to enjoin them from selling or loaning these books to minors without parental consent. We are in a major fight. Suits like this can be filed all over Virginia. There are dozens of books, hundreds of schools. There are dozens of books, folks. Now again, this is not like... Oftentimes on my show, I will cover, like, oh, a Republican proposed to ban birth control. Oh, but they proposed it. We're like, yeah, I'll cover that, right? And then I'll cover, like, then when it actually passes, right? Because it always does. But I want to be very clear. This is, like, a judge said, yeah, we're going to create a new list of books that can't be sold to kids. Ooh, the comments on this post were also really something. I am so grateful for this victory! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Thank you! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Along with redacted, shared Facebook profile for married couple. I have been fighting this issue for 5 months, and I put my entire life into it! Wrote one woman who is very upset about books. I refuse to believe it when over and over and over I've been told that we can't remove books because of the First Amendment right. Obscene materials are not protected by the First Amendment. Obscene material. Well, like, what is obscene material? We'll find out in a moment. I am legally obligated to direct your attention to this same woman's banner on her profile, in which she describes herself as a Christ follower, life coach, and collagen rep. I just want to say the creative writing on wonket.com, this is great. So this is what she's got on her fucking whatever. I am deceased. I'm loving the creative writing. All right, okay. In order to be considered obscene, to the point of not being protected by the First Amendment, a work must meet the following criteria, known as the Miller test. 1, whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that work taken as a whole appeals to prurient interest. Whether the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law, and 3, whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. What? What? It is very clear that neither of these books meet the standard, which means that they are protected by the First Amendment, whether Serena Joy over here approves of that or not. There are hundreds of other comments from other parents who are also just finding out about books for the first time ever. They'll probably be even more upset when they find out their kids could be reading things like this. When she carried on her whoring so openly and flaunted her nakedness, I turned in disgust from her, as I had turned in disgust from her sister. Yet she increased her whoring, remembering the days of her youth, when she played the whore of the land of Egypt and lusted after her lovers there, whose members were blah blah blah. Anyway, so it's about Egypt or something. That's from a little book called The Bible. That's called The Bible. So let me get this straight. The Bible is talking about whoring and nakedness in the Bible? There's lots of other weird shit in there as well. Like a guy trying to get a bunch of gay dudes to rape his daughters. Ostensibly to protect some angels who could probably just disappear if they wanted because of how they're angels and not people. Whoever wrote this article, fucking Robin Panaccia, this is A+ creative writing. This is S tier article writing. Who then in turn rape him and have his babies. These parents should be very concerned. In one article about the lawsuit, one woman shared the story of her quest to get the book Genderqueer banned from local schools. Just a reminder, 63% of Americans believe in angels. 63% of Americans are stupid fucking schizophrenia patients. No offense to people with schizophrenia, of course, but I need to come up with a better way to express that. Anyway, Stacey Langton, a Fairfax County mother of 6. Jesus Christ. Can we talk about how this bitch is having 6 kids? There's gonna be 6 fucked up motherfuckers in the world because of this bitch's selfish ass? Fuck. This is why I believe in abortion so much. Like, if this bitch got aborted, like, think about the fucking, like, domino effect. This bitch didn't get aborted, and now we've got 6 fucking morons being spawned onto this planet. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Has been waging this battle with Fairfax County Public Schools for months. On several occasions, she has taken it upon herself to read excerpts from Genderqueer in school board meetings. She tells 7 News she will follow Anderson's lead. This shows there's a higher authority, said Langton. There's another pathway here, and if a judge adjudicates it and rules the book to be obscene, then, from my understanding, it would have to be removed here as it will be down in Virginia Beach schools. She followed that up with, if we allow this filth to be taught to our seniors, the next thing you know, it'll be in our high schools, then our kindergartens, and before you know it, we'll have babies in thong underwear. Is that what you want? Langton isn't just some nobody. Mother Jones credits her with starting the rights war on books, so she's a bit of a censorship celebrity. All jokes aside, this is actually horrifying. Going after schools and school libraries is disturbing enough. But actually going and telling booksellers and regular libraries what they're allowed to sell or lend is just beyond anything we've seen in decades. It is incredibly important that young people have access to books that help them understand themselves and safely explore the things and ideas that they have questions about, including their own gender identity and sexuality. I just want to say the internet makes all of this a moot point. Like, can we talk about that? The internet makes all of this irrelevant. More people are going to know what Genderqueer is, or whatever the other book is. They're going to know what this is than if you would have never talked about it. And, you know, like, I go to my local bookstore downtown, and they've got a whole section called banned books. And I'm going to have to go down there and show them this article so that they can put that in the banned book section. Like, again, like, the more you make this kind of stuff happen, especially with the internet, right? People are just going to look up what the book is, Like, Amazon's got this thing where you can, like, read, like, the first 10 pages or something, right? Like, I'm sure, you know, kids probably know how to, like, pirate things, right? Kids are pretty smart. So, like, this is just crazy. But the things that you really need to understand is that they're doing this because they can. Right? Like, that's what you need to, like, it's not like they're doing this, you know, because they think that they're going to win a war or whatever. Like, they're doing it because they can. They control the courts. They control the politicians. They control the corporations. They control fucking everything. So they're doing it because they can. They're doing it to fuck with you because that's entertaining for them. That's pretty much it. These are fucking psycho-ass, dumb fuck motherfuckers. Republicans are the dumbest group of people that have ever existed. Republicans are dumber than flat earthers. Republicans are dumber than anti-vaxxers. I mean, there's a big Venn diagram there, but, you know, still. Republicans are dumber than anyone who's ever lived, right, at any other point in history. Because I want you to think about the delta between what we know as a collective species and what Republicans think, right? When you look at the intelligence of civilizations like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, right? The delta between what the average citizen thought and like the collective knowledge of the entire species, not that wide, right? Like, you know, there are scientific discoveries being made, but, you know, without the internet, without postal services, and with oppressive governments and Christian theocrats, right? A lot of this information was suppressed, so ordinary people could not have access to this stuff. But if you look at the delta between Republican voters' beliefs and the collective knowledge of humanity at this point and how accessible it is with the internet, that makes Republicans the dumbest group of people that have ever lived. Ever. Throughout human history. Can you really blame someone who lived 6,000 years ago for being kind of an idiot when it comes to complex geometry? No, because they just didn't have access to that. We all only know what we know because of our ancestors, right? They gave us a world with all of this information, and every generation builds off of the last generation, right? Theoretically, right? So 10,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, right? Yeah, people were like, you know, just starting to really figure things out, starting to like write things down, starting to come up with ways to communicate more complex ideas. Right? But when you look, again, at what the total knowledge of humanity is at this moment versus what Republicans believe, you will find that Republican voters... Now, again, politicians, a lot of them are still actors. Some of the Republican voter, like kind of level stupid, have become politicians over the last couple of cycles, right? But Republican voters are dumber than dog shit. Dumber than anyone who's ever lived throughout the entirety of human history. They are fucking morons. And again, I really hate to say this.
Only I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ